everybody, welcome back to Messy Vegan Baker. I'm Christina, and this week, or today, right now, we're going to be continuing this fun experiment, I shall say, with vegan egg replacers. There we go, finally got it out. As I was looking through all of the different vegan egg replacers, I realized that while there are a lot of them are meant for different baked goods. So for example, like silken tofu, you can use it, but I don't think it would really make your cookies that good because it's really dense. So I think this will be the end of testing vegan egg replacers for cookies because I had a hard time coming up with 4 and then I messed one up, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So yeah, after that, I think I might move on to cakes and just keep the egg theme going, or I'll continue with the cookies. I'm not sure yet. So stay tuned for what's going to happen next. I don't even know. But today we are going to be making chocolate chip cookies. I'm only doing that because I don't know. But yeah, so we're going to do chocolate chip cookies again. Same recipe. So I'll have that blog post down below. And we are going to be doing aquafaba, applesauce, and then 2 of them that are way more obscure. I also messed one up, so. But then we're gonna do white vinegar with baking, it was supposed to be baking soda, so I'll have the correct thing in the blog, but I did cornstarch on accident, so we'll see how it turns out. And then there's also a milk, oil, and cornstarch one. I've never heard of those except for Mark Bittman's How to Bake Everything. He has way more other egg replacer ideas. A lot of them are kind of similar, so I figured I'll just pick 2 ones that kind of cover everything. You guys should go check out his cookbook because it has a lot of other cool vegan replacements and recipes in general. Oh, I meant to say, welcome. If you haven't watched the first video, you probably want to go back and do that because I explain things a lot more there. I'm not really going to do that here just because I don't feel like repeating myself. But again, I'm using coconut oil. You can sub for butter if you want. I think that's it. So I'm not going to tell you how to make the cookies in this one just because there's the blog post down below and the first video and I didn't want to be repetitive. But I will explain some of the differences that I found with just mixing them, and then I will bake them and then I'll test them and do what I did last time. So without further ado, let's get baking. The first one I did was applesauce. So that one's a pretty common one. For every egg, you just do a 1/4 cup applesauce and it's super easy and convenient. Ta-da! Which is amazing. And then you mix it in. I liked it. The dough tasted really good and it had a really good consistency. It's a little weird when you mix in the applesauce and the sugar coconut oil mixture just because it looks really lumpy, but it's not a problem. It mixes really well and yeah, it tastes good and it has a good texture so far. And then the second one, like I said, I messed up, so we'll see. These cookies probably won't turn out and honestly, it's fine. If they do, they're gonna be more of like a shortbread chocolate chip cookie. For the white vinegar and baking soda, or mine, cornstarch, you just do 1 tablespoon, which is one thing I was like, that's kind of weird. So I think it's supposed to be more of a leavening agent. My bad. But you just take 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon of vinegar and then do 1 teaspoon of baking soda. I did cornstarch and whisk that together and then just mix it in when you need to. When it started to mix, it took a minute for it to actually start to incorporate, and it was kind of funny because it was just moving the whole batter around, and yeah, it was funny. It did eventually end up mixing and it was fine. Again, the dough is just super dry and crumbly, which I ended up just putting it in plastic wrap in a disc kind of form because you generally do that with a lot of drier doughs, so I'm hoping that will help it. So I'm really curious to see how that turns out. And then the other one that I did was the milk, oil, and cornstarch one. So in a bowl, separate bowl, you're gonna take your room temperature milk. You're gonna take 2 tablespoons of that, 1 tablespoon of a neutral tasting oil, so like canola or grapeseed I think is another one. I just use canola. And then you do 1 teaspoon of cornstarch and you whisk that together and then you just put it in your dough. That one worked really well too. That one had a really great texture and consistency. So I'm excited to see how that one turns out. For the aquafaba one, that's right. If you don't know what aquafaba is, it is that liquid in the garbanzo bean cans, or when you make, when you cook garbanzo beans or chickpeas naturally and you have the extra water, that is aquafaba. Save it because it is great for baking for multiple different things, because you can use it as egg whites and whip it. And yeah, it's really cool. So if you are ever opening a can of chickpeas, just put it in a bag or a container and freeze it until you need it, and then just thaw it out. So it's really nice. And that one is really easy and convenient to use because it is 3 tablespoons per egg, and you just put that in and mix it in, and voila. So that one also had a really good texture. They're all in the fridge resting. I'm gonna bake them at 350 degrees. Also, I've really debated about this. So I think for half of them, like the second half, I might put them in the freezer and then bake them. But I realized, you don't need to do that with cookies that aren't cut out specific shapes, like sugar cookies or gingerbread, because they're gonna spread and they're supposed to, and you don't need it to stay like a little cute candy cane, you know? So I think I'm just gonna stick them in the oven, because I realized that by freezing them and then sticking them in, while they still hold their shape, and it's great and you can do that, it also drops your oven temperature a lot. I will be back after all of them have baked, so stay tuned. So I have baked them all, well, working on finishing baking them all, but I've baked a batch of all of them. Let's see, overall impressions. The applesauce one spread out the most, and it is also the darkest color, which I find really interesting. The milk oil cornstarch one is very nice. I'm very impressed. It looks good. It's very puffy. It didn't, what am I trying to say? I don't know. It looks really good. The end. And then this is the one I messed up, which is a really cool thing in and of itself. Just messing around with milks and liquid ratios. I guess you could say liquid to dry ingredient ratios. But that's really fun. So this is one where I added a little bit more milk. But this one is one that I just tried to squish together. So I think that's pretty fun, pretty interesting. But they look really good too. So just so you know, if you don't want it to spread, don't put as much liquid in it, which is just such a cool thing to take away from this. The aquafaba one browned pretty well, especially around the edges, and it spread out a little bit. So spread-wise, I mean, it depends with the one I messed up on, just how much liquid I put in there, but overall, the applesauce spread the most. Also, I'm not sure, I think my oven's at about the same temperature it was, but these baked for like 9 minutes each. Let's do the taste test. So, the applesauce one, it's okay. I'm just personally not a fan of how crunchy they are, so I might try baking these a little less, because with the next batches of all of them, I'm gonna bake them by themselves, because that's probably the smarter thing to do. But I mean, they taste really good. They don't taste funny. Like, you can't taste the applesauce. I can't. They taste good. I just am not a fan of like thin, crunchy cookies. The milk, oil, and cornstarch. So very nice crunchy texture. Then the middle is very soft. It's very airy. Like, there's huge bubbles. And I wonder if it's because you have oil and milk. Then you have the cornstarch that helps to keep the structure a little bit more. But yeah, I love that. I think it's a very wonderful texture. I was just surprised at how much air is in them. This one probably not as much, so it'll be just a nice like crunchy with cakey inside. So I've never heard of that egg replacer before, but you probably have everything on hand for that, and it's really good. So definitely my favorite so far. The one I messed up, that's really good. It's soft, has like a nice crunch to it, cakey texture, tastes good, nothing funny. It's a good one. I'm curious how the not messed up ones would have turned out, but that's okay. So that's good to know if you do use it and it seems really dry and you want more of a cakey, softer cookie and not so much like a shortbread kind of cookie, then just add a little bit of milk. I would recommend doing probably a tablespoon, but no more. So you could just start with like a teaspoon at a time. 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon, just so you know. So you can play with that as you want. Now the aquafaba one. That's really good. You don't get the beanie taste at all either, which is really nice. So I just finished baking my other messed up ones, and there's less milk in the rest of these, so they stayed very nicely puffed and round. So yeah, I mean, you could use what I did and it'll be fine. But overall, very pleased with them. The only one that I'm kind of disappointed in is the applesauce one, but I'll rebake it and either insert text here or something about if it was better or not. But overall, I'd say all of these are really successful. I think that's honestly way cooler than regular bakers who only use eggs, just saying. I don't know, I just think it's fun because like you want to add a little bit more of a flavor, because sometimes with sugar cookies, I'll do banana just because it adds a little flavor, or like, I don't know, I just think we're better. My new philosophy is anything you can make, I can make vegan and better, so not that I'm cocky or anything, never, it's crazy. But to wrap this up so editing me doesn't kill me, so this wraps up the egg portion of the cookies. Hopefully you guys learned something and were entertained. If you are new here, you know what to do, like, subscribe. You could leave a comment. What other egg replacers do you normally use? Whether it's commercial, plants, just plants. I'm curious. Or what is your favorite one that you use like every single time? And if you are not new here, hello, welcome back. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I was gonna address this. I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but all of a sudden there was a silver stand mixer, and that's because my dad's, which we just keep out here and I use all the time, it needs a little repair because it's been used a lot. So that's why mine is now up out of storage and being used for a while. So if you were curious about that, that's why. I will see all of you lovely human beings next time. Bye. Okay, so oh, that makes sense. Anywho, flavors evolve and die and stuff. So, and boy, oh boy, am I excited. Sorry, I'm getting so ahead of myself. Oh, I'm sorry, editing me. Okay, sorry, I feel like I'm choking. Okay, without further, no, wrong one. We're not there. I will see all of you lovely next, one more time, for the camera.